There is a clear structure behind Iman Gadzhi's high impact edits. It's not just aesthetic, it's intentional. This is the part 2 of himangazi editing style. We are starting by building the first scene, focusing on 2D bot layer and snappy motion design. Then we will dive into graph animation with dynamic camera moves. In part 1, I have created a smooth text and visual animation on one of my client's video. Before moving even deeper into editing tutorial, first check out the final results we are going to create. Firstly, we are going to create the background for animation. To create this, right click in timeline and import a solid. Then go to effects panel and search for gradient ramp. Change the gradient color to red and darker red and change color tone from linear to radial ramp. Then search for brightness and contrast. Decrease the both values to get dark circles effect in background. After that, pick up the shape layer, turn off the stroke and change fill color to black. Then adjust its position and move it to bottom side as well. Then select both layers, keyframe their position values and move them out of screen. Select both keyframes and adjust their speed in graph editor, as I did for smooth cinematic transition. Pick up the shape layer again, change the fill color to red and create a circle by holding shift. Align it to center, then right click layer, styles and select gradient overlay. Open the shape properties, change gradient color to red and dark red. Right click again, select bevel and emboss. Open shape properties and change its size to 100, depth to 40. Again right click, choose inner glow and change its choke to 30, size to 50 and change color to red. After that, press P for position and keyframe it. Then move initial position outside the screen. Select both keyframes and adjust their speed for smooth transition in graph editor. Now move few frames forward and keyframe scale position. Select both keyframe and adjust their speed as well in graph editor. Now duplicate the shape layer and delete layer style properties. Turn off the fill color and change stroke width to 4. Then scale the shape layer. Precompose the shape layer and put keyframes on opacity moving from 0 to 100 and smooth it up using graph editor. Now pick up the shape layer and mask the circle, then open Precompose and right click the shape layer to apply trim path effect. Keyframe it and move start position to 50 as well as end position. Then select both keyframes and speed them up in graph editor. Search for deepglow effect and apply it to shape layer. Decrease its exposure to 0.1%. Now duplicate the circle layer and decrease its scale. Then delete the position keyframes and move it to the right side of circle, where line animation starts. Adjust its inner glow values and duplicate it by pressing Ctrl D. Change its position as regarding scene and duplicate it few more times and place it along the way until end of the line animation. Apply bounce effect from Mr. Horse plugin. Adjust their position as according to the line animation. Then link them to the shape layer 3 and keyframe it. Keyframe its scale again, moving upward. Then smooth it up in graph editor. Now pick up the text tool, type your required text, adjust its position and scale. Then apply the gradient ramp effect, change its color to red and white. After that, apply the Gaussian blur and fade effect from Mr. Horse plugin. Then duplicate the text layer one by one, change its text and change gradient color positions. Select all text layers and link them to the shape layer 3 and make all layers to 3D. Set camera to 2 view and adjust all layers in front of camera. Now press right click in timeline, create a null object and link shape layer 1, 2 and 3 with null object. Go to the point where all text appears in screen. Put keyframe on scale and position, move few frames forward and scale its position by creating a jump cut. Now duplicate the third text layer, link to the below layer and change its text. Select opacity and keyframe both text layers, as when jump cuts appears, first text opacity decreases to 0 and second text increases to 100. Then select both keyframes and smooth up their animation in graph editor. Now render the composition by pressing Ctrl M and see the final results. Now for the second graph animation, firstly we are going to create this background. To create this background, right click in timeline and select solid. Then go to effects panel and search for radio waves. Apply it to solid layer, change its expansion to 7 and lifespan to 6 seconds. Apply gradient ramp effect, change colors to yellow but darker yellow shades. Then change color positions as I did. After that apply the echo effect. Change its echo time to 0.035 and number of echoes to 2. Then apply the turbulence displace effect. Change its amount to 250 and size to 50. Then apply the deep glow effect. Change its radius to 700 and expansion to 0.7%. Right click in timeline, choose solid, then search for gradient ramp. Change its color tone to radial ramp. Change color midpoint to center and change its color to light yellow and place it beyond the solid layer 3. Now we are done with background. Let's move forward, pick up the shape tool and create a rectangle. Change color to black, apply the gradient ramp effect and gradient color position to the corners of rectangle. Change both colors to darker shades to get shade effect in shape layer. Then open shape properties and change the shape roundness to 60. Now duplicate the shape layer, delete the gradient ramp and change shape color to black. Then in effects panel search for CC light sweep. Apply it to shape layer. Increase width value to 250 and intensity to 0. Then change shape blending mode to screen. Apply the deep glow effect. Change its radius to 700 and exposure to 0.7. Now click the CC light clock icon and keyframe the light position as along the animation continues. Then select both keyframes, go to graph editor and smooth up their transition. Now again search for CC light, apply it to layer and change its width, intensity and thickness as well. After that take another solid layer, then search for Venetian blinds effect. Apply that to solid layer and change its transition completion to 85%. Then duplicate it and change its direction to 90 degrees. Now pick up the shape tool and mask it. After that press F for feather and increase its feather. Then go to effects panel and search for invert. Apply it to mask layer. Select above both layers, link them with shape layer 1 and press P for position. Keyframe the both positions and move the shape outside the screen. Then select both keyframes and smoother their animation using graph editor. Take a shape layer and draw a line using pen tool for graph animation. Right click on the shape layer and apply trim path effect. Open the shape properties, add dashes effect to the graph line. Now keyframe the trim path, start and end positions. Then adjust their animation speed in graph editor. Now pick up the text tool, type value, change its font and position. Duplicate the text layer, change the position to the end of graph and also change text to time. Now it's time for animation. Keyframe the text position and opacity, then select both keyframes, go to graph editor, smooth up their speed now. Now duplicate the text layer, change the text to time value, change its font position and scale. Adjust it in the top corner of the shape. Now duplicate text layer again and change its text. Adjust its font and position it below the total value. Now apply the transition to the text layer by changing their position and opacity values. After that go to flat icon and search for money, time and biceps. Import them to composition and turn off money and bicep shape layer. Then apply the gradient ramp effect on time glass layer. Change its color to light yellow and orange shades. Now search for CC light effect. Then change its intensity and thickness. Also change its color to yellow. Then duplicate CC light effect. Change its values. Change the center position. Then keyframe the direction moving from one side to another. Then select both keyframes and smooth up their transition in graph editor. Now turn on all the shape layers and decrease their scale to 30. Then adjust their positions. Now animate the text layers, put keyframes on position and opacity at start and end of animation. Then select keyframes and smooth them up in Graph Editor. Turn on the remaining shape layers, decrease their scale to 30. After that, copy paste the effect to the remaining shape layers and adjust their positions as well. Pick up the text tool and type time, then position it upside the time glass. Now keyframe its position and opacity values as we did for below shape layers. Repeat that process to remaining text layer as well as to get smooth fade in transition. Now pick up the pen tool and draw a line crossing each shape from the center. Now apply the trim path effect, open shape properties and go to taper. Increase start and end strength to 12. Then open trim path and keyframe its positions starting from 0 and ending at 100. Then smooth them up using Graph Editor. Now apply the gradient ramp effect, change color positions alongside the line moving. Then change shape colors to light yellow and orange. After that, apply the deep glow effect to line and change its exposure to 0.1%. Now take adjustment layer and position it next to the line animation. Then search for shatter in effects panel and apply it to adjustment layer. Change view to rendered, shape patterns to glass, repetition to 50 and depth to 0.1%. Then change its origin position to the center of shape layer on which you want the mirror effect. Now change the force 1 strength to 2 and force 2 strength to 2 as well. From physics, decrease viscosity to 0.7 and gravity to 0. Duplicate the adjustment layer 2 times. Position it above the layer where next object will appear in animation. Then change their origin position to the center of the shape on which you want mirror effect. After that, adjust the layer position and pre-compose them one by one. Select pre-compose layer 1 and apply the deep glow effect. Change its exposure and radius values. Then copy the effect and paste it to above pre-composed layers as well. Now open Precomp 1, adjust the effect by moving adjustment layer forward or backward. Now open Precompose 1, adjust the effect by moving adjustment layer forward or backward according to the scene. When line hits the shape, it needs to be broken. Now it's time for camera movement. Right click in timeline and choose one node camera. Then make all below layers 3D by clicking the little 3D icon. Then put cuts on camera. As new text or animation appears in screen, put cut on camera. After that, put position keyframes on camera cut 1. Start the scene down to upwards. Select keyframe and smooth up their animation using Graph Editor. Then go to next camera cut, position it and follow the process. Keyframing the position and then smoothing them up in Graph Editor. It's a process that takes time to understand when, where and why cut needs to place, from where animation starts and where it ends. Just focus on what I am doing and try it again and again. Repeat the process, learn the camera movement until you master it. This is for today's tutorial now. Render this by pressing Ctrl M and see the final results here.